Welcome to the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. My name is Jin Ong and I'm your host. I practice as an osteopath and psychosomatic therapist and am fascinated by the mind-body connection and how your physical body is a manifestation of your emotional state. I help people get unstuck from their chronic pain and live the life they want, grounded in values and driven by purpose. My aim is to create awareness to the underlying emotions behind pain, injury, and disease in the body. Join me to learn more about the story of your body, what different issues may indicate, how to release emotions so that you can prevent problems, as well as inspiring pain story interviews. When I'm working with clients who have a strong emotional component to their physical presentation, so their physical discomfort, their recurrent injuries, or their illness or disease state, I take them through processing emotions that may not have been expressed at the time of the event in their life or when they've experienced a certain trauma. So these emotions get stored in the body, and then after a period of time when the body can't compensate anymore, it presents as a physical manifestation, so the injury or the disease state. But there's a few key exercises that I get my clients to work on. And this is more about discovering yourself, understanding yourself, and owning your story, owning the experiences that you've been through, and understanding that these experiences shape who you are today and how you express yourself to the world and how you align yourself with your soul purpose. So a few episodes ago, I covered one of the exercises that I get people to go through, which is discovering your core values. So these are the values that you live your life by. And the reason I go through these exercises with people is they are often not clear, for example, what their values are. They just know what irks them and what irritates them. But when you take the time to reflect and do this work, it's actually quite easy. You start to understand yourself better and you can start to make better choices. So, the exercise that I'm going to go through today that I take my clients through is about finding their strengths or finding your strengths. And it's about what comes naturally to you that others value. Now, I find this a really great exercise, especially for people who are looking to get into business or sell services that are related to them as a person, because you want to know what others look for in yourself. It's also great to have this piece of paper or this document sitting there with all the things that you're great at, especially when you're feeling a little bit down and maybe self-doubt creeps in, which is really common. So you can look back at this exercise and realize, hey, you're actually really good at something. Okay, so I'm going to run through some questions that you can jot down and I will pop them in the podcast notes. And I recommend you set aside half an hour to an hour to work through these questions. It can be dot points, it can be a story, or it can be a paragraph. Whatever comes easiest to you. I always recommend you just get started and then you can flesh things out from there. So the first question to answer is, what do others tell you that you're good at? Now, often with our strengths, we just don't recognize what comes easy to us is so valuable to someone else. What do friends always ask you to do? And so it's no issue for you to just drop what you're doing because, again, this task is really easy for you. You're so willing to help them out. What task do you love that others don't enjoy? Then another question is, what do you know how to do better than anyone else? Now, these exercises, these questions, you're keeping the answers to yourself. So just gloat, just go for it. Don't worry about your ego. What are you able to do easily without question? Now, as you go through these questions and answer them, you'll notice that you have a recurrent theme. So don't worry if you feel a little bit repetitive. If you didn't need an income, what would you do with your life? So usually our strengths are also the things that come really easy to us, as I've mentioned before, and they're the things that we enjoy to do as well. And that's why we forget that they're strengths, because they come so easy to us. What do you love to learn about? Now, if you get really stuck with any of these questions, I really love to ask people, who is it out there that you admire and what are their strengths? So this could be strengths that you want to cultivate in yourself. It doesn't have to be anyone famous, although it can be someone famous. It can be friends, it can be a neighbor. So just try and pick a few people and pick out their strengths and their values that you really appreciate and that you would like to cultivate more of. Now, if you get really stuck on this exercise, maybe again because you have a lot of self-doubt going on for whatever reason, I do recommend you reach out to a friend, or it might even be a work colleague, and ask them to help you answer these questions. And most of the time, you'll find that people will just be able to rattle the answers off for you. And it gives you that starting platform from which you can just start to flesh it out. Then the last bit of this exercise, which some of you might find easier to jump to, is I ask you to list down 50 experiences and or skills that you have. Now, a lot of people get confused with strengths and they think their strengths are the qualities that they have in themselves. So it can be qualities, but also just list down things that you're good at. It can be changing a car tire. Not everybody knows how to do that. But again, just the mundane things. And really make an effort to get 50 things down. Even if you don't think it's a great list, over time you can come back and revisit this a few months down the track and refine it. So with any of the exercises that I give my clients, so we've gone through discovering your core values and your strengths finder, I encourage you to review them on a regular basis. And it's a great process to go through and just reflect and recognize what you've achieved in life. So go through those questions, make an effort, jot down some answers, and just get started and discover more about yourself. Thanks for learning with me on the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. If you like what you've heard, I would love if you could rate, review, and share with your friends. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is The Art of Listening to Your Body. You can join my free Facebook group where I go live regularly to teach you about different conditions and the deeper underlying emotions at play.